Hey everybody, we're going to start doing a couple videos about our new ImageTrend software for fire and EMS reporting. What I'm going to cover today is going to be the intro to the ImageTrend Elite field. It is the part of the application that we can do our patient care reports on in the field. So this will be a kind of a multi-part series covering different topics and stuff with the new software. We will be doing a hands-on training. Part of the reason we're starting here with this topic is Chief Riffle wants all the crews each shift to do one report. You know, as a trial period. We're probably going to be going live with this the last week in December, sometime between Christmas and New Year's. So to start off, your username is going to be the same as what it's been in the past, like what your computer is. Your password to start off is going to be NUCFD123. And you hit the sign in button. Now, help if I type in my right password. This screen right here, you're not going to see. So what's going to start off when you first log in, you're going to see this sync screen come up. What this is doing is this is downloading any change data, any patient history data, so you can access it offline, or any for the forms and things like that. If this allows us to operate offline. So if the iPads lose an internet connection, you can still complete a patient care report. So this will run through it's kind of a random time frame. It should every start of your shift it should log in. And when you log in, it'll do this. So this is the dashboard for ImageTrend Elite. You'll see here on this side, it'll say how many incidents are in here. They'll be able to list as you've created your incidents and completed them. They'll be here. They'll stay there for about 7 days. So this number will kind of tie in with how many is here. You can change your views of how many different your incidents right here. So each morning, what you want to do is you want to set your crew up on an elite field here. So to do that, you'll hit Add, select your crew member. It'll automatically fill in your level. The roles section, you just want to make sure you hit primary caregiver or driver or second. If you, for some reason we don't have a 3-person truck that day, there would be a secondary caregiver. Hit OK, and just do that for the next one. You should always have a primary caregiver, and you should always have a driver. The other thing you want to do is you want to select your unit or the truck. So be Medic 310. It fills in the call sign. It's supposed to be filling in the rest of the stuff. This is kind of a small glitch we've found. They're going to have to resolve this, but eventually that'll all populate when you select the truck. But for right now, just select ALS ground or BLS ground, and then ALS paramedic or BLS intermediate. And the last thing on this section you do is select your shift. 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit. So that's it for setting that up for the day. Just kind of hit a couple different little other things real quick. The inbox down here, you'll see these little different things. The inbox is, if we send a run back to you, there'll be messages in there explaining what needs to be fixed. And it'll allow you to go in and we'll unlock the incident for you. It'll allow you to go in and change it and get it fixed, and you can send it back to us. So you may see like a little red 1 or 2 that'll pop up right here that will tell you have a new message. You'll also receive a email in your email from us saying, hey, you've got a message in your inbox. So you get started on doing a new incident. It's just as simple as you click new incident. This little screen right here is going to come up, and it's going to ask you just to verify the information you put in here, because if the crew changes, at shift change at the 6 p.m. time, you may have to change it. It just wants to make, because this will retain this for a period of time. And it just so you can verify it. You can hit no, switch user, and it'll take you and let you change this, or you can hit yes, and it'll take you into the run form. So this is what our run form looks like. This section over here is all the different sections filling in the run report. There's little subsections underneath each one, and as you see, there's different information. Some of that stuff you already filled out on the first page is already there. As you see, there's blue and there's red. As you enter stuff into the report, it's going to change things red or change things blue, and it also may hide some things, and I'll show you some examples of that here in a second. Up here is saving. Is, you know, if you need to save the run, it does auto save for you. So if you need to come back to it, you can save it and then hit close. Post is when you're done with the report, and I'll cover that more in just a second. Print is if you want to get a print view. You can also do a PDF view. EKG here is where we'll import stuff from the monitor, and I'll go into that in just a second as well. Transfers we'll cover at a later time. And then close is obviously close. On this side here, we have our times option where we can put our times, and this changes per the disposition. So different times will be required. And the nice thing about this software is if you hit, ignore this one right here. That's screen free right now. If you hit the little clock button, you can select into the next screen and hit +5 minutes, and it's going to go +5 minutes from the next bots. +5 minutes. So it's a lot easier to use than what we had before. The mileage screen. We have the 2 hospital and that hospital. If you transport, both of these are required. Now you can do a 0 in the 2 hospital and put your total miles in there, but we would prefer you to do your beginning and ending miles. Just don't do a loaded miles. Timeline. This will kind of cover, as you've seen, I already put times in. So as you enter stuff in, this will go and change, and these little buttons right here will allow you to go to that specific thing. So if I click that, it takes you right to that time. And when schedule box comes up, just keep hitting cancel. Situations is we'll have these little features here where you can. It's kind of like hitting the quick buttons. I still got to build these a little bit out. It's kind of like hitting the events on the monitor. It'll timestamp it. You'll still have to go in and complete it. It just puts the information into the activities section, and you have to timestamp it. Worksheets. This is where you'll find the refusal. If you're doing a refusal, you just click that. You'll still have to enter all the other information, but you just go down here and answer these boxes as you scroll down, and it'll change. So if you click it, it's going to change to what you need to. Crew member and all that stuff needs to be filled in. And then you do a signature. And the nice thing about this, to go ahead and cover the signatures real quick, is if you hit the enlarge button, it makes this a lot easier for an elderly person, to be able to sign. And if you click outside of this, it doesn't go away. You have to hit OK or cancel for it to go away. And the same with the witness signature. And you can type in notes and stuff like that. The notes down here underneath witness is where you want to type the name of the witness. So. And power tools, you'll see these down here. These are like your quick to go in and fill things out. So we'll just go ahead and do I'll be your all one. So when you come into this, you click into here, you fill in your times prior to arrival, and you can, as you see, if you click here, it kind of changes it too. It automatically has the drug reference to the power tool. The dosage is already in there. It's just, the only thing you've got to put in there is a response to medications. And all this is, and there's several different ones in here too. So just play around with them. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm also going to create a worksheet that should be in here at some point soon that allows you guys to type in some feedback as well, so we can see that. To cover some of the different things in the screen real quick, as you see right here with this little incident location type. these red exclamation points are something that needs to be validated. So the validation is, you see this, the 71 down here is, it's not percentage, it's points. So each time there's a validation, there is points attached to it, and a lot of them are already preset. And I can't tell you what every single one of them is going to be the point without actually going and looking it up. But if you click in here, if you click on that little explanation point, it should tell you an error code. And also, if you click the validation number, it's going to tell you, which things need to be fixed still and what still needs to be done. And it kind of gives you the points right here. These numbers right here are your points. If it has this little red circle with a slash through it, that is basically what they call a closed call requirement. These have to be completed for the call to be complete, and it will not allow you to post that run without those completed. The goal is to be 100 points. You want it to be 100 points. So this will kind of, you kind of can come in here and look at it and see what still needs to be filled in. Patient name will kind of go down here. So what's good, I'll kind of go through some of these different tabs with you. Obviously, incident address. The nice thing about it is when you click postal code, so if you enter Richwood's postal code in here, and if you click, to kind of cover a little thing, something real quick, if you see this, when you're on the iPads, if you see these little boxes right here with the little dashes and lines, it's going to bring up this little screen. On the iPads, it's a lot easier to click that button. So if you see that, instead of getting into a situation where you have to type, just on the iPads, if you have this box come up with the find value, it's going to pop the keyboard up so you can type. It's just kind of a nuisance sometimes. So the easiest way is to click into the box, or click into the dash line button, and allow that to bring this up, and then it allows you to select, off of that with your fingers. It's a lot easier. So with the zip code, the one thing that's different with the zip code is location lookup. So once you type in the zip code number, you want to hit location lookup. It's going to start searching for everything with that location. So this is where you kind of want to keep an eye, pay attention to where you're at. So if you're in the village of Richwood, obviously you're in the village of Richwood. But since this zip code is tied to several different areas, so West Jackson Township still has this zip code. If you have just a plain Jane Richwood address, you still have this. Byhalia, Claiborne, Essex, still has that zip code. So kind of select the one that goes to the area you're in. And just select it, hit OK. It's going to fill that in. District and township is just like what we had before, where you just select your township. Cross streets and stuff, that would be if you had an accident or something like that, or not that we're going to have to worry about milepost or major roadway. Complaint reported by dispatch. Just go through and select, and then you can kind of hit this button over here, and it's going to pre-fill that in for you. Other agencies at scene, if Raymond or Magnetic's there, you can select, whoever was there with you, and it allows you to select multiple departments. So I'll just select Allen, and you hit OK, and you just continue to add them in there. Unit info, as you see, as I'm completing them, these lines are turning blue too. Unit info, just most of it should already be filled out. Hit yes. If for some reason you're dispatched to a different location, from a different location, right now it's only got station 310 or from the hospitals. If you're coming from the hospital, put the hospital you're coming from if you're going to that run, just so that it's documented of why it took the delay. Career info, it's gonna fill out this stuff automatically. The only thing you gotta fill out is the exposure section. The easiest way to do is just hit all true, and that automatically puts that in. If there's nothing really need to worry about with there. Now you can go down here and do the find value gloves for each one, and you can select the different ones. And just hit OK and hit OK. Patient disposition. Now this is where you're going to see a lot of changes come in. When you select treat and transport, now you see a lot more requirements pop up, and you notice the validation score went down because there's more requirements now that are into the system. So just kind of scrolling down a little too more. One thing with the sets, if you select female, it'll ask you the female questions, pregnancy, things like that. Find repeat patient. Nice thing is when you press that button, it'll bring up a search area. If you've already got information in there, you can go ahead and bring it up and see as it's bringing up these numbers. So it'll bring up that. Double click it. And you want, after you find the one you want to hit this little button right here on the side with the arrow pointing down, and that'll import all that information in. Try to go with the most, if there's multiple in here for that patient. I selected the one from the 24th, but there's also, I had this in here for the 5th. Try to go with the same the latest pickup, because that'll pull you the latest information. And it pulls the date, estimated body weight. If you have a crash and you have multiple patients, you can go in here to this patient information and you can hit this add additional patient to incident. What that's going to do is that's going to link a new patient. It's going to be the same incident number, but it'll put a new patient and it copies over all the information from the incident that's already there. One thing you guys will probably notice is there is no incident number or run number information. This system will automatically do the run numbers for us. You will notice that when we get into doing fire information later, that the fire run number looks different from the EMS number. That's just for federal standards and things like that with the new system. So the run numbers are not, EMS numbers are going to go in sequence with each other. Fire numbers are going to go in sequence with each other. Be a little easier to track in the long run for statistical information. But those numbers, you won't have to worry about typing them in because they're going to be automatically assigned when you hit the post button. So once you hit post, then it'll assign the run number. And when you come for like your for your narcotics reporting sheet, it'll be on the dashboard once you're done. You'll get that run number there. So as you scroll down, there's if you see it, to give an example for another change in information required. If you hit emergent response, now it's going to require lights and sirens. As we're going, this thing's plugging blue, and the validation score keeps going up. One thing I'll cover real quick. Let me go back up here to dispatch information. If you select automated crash notification or motor vehicle accident, you're going to notice, as I talked about, some things being a traffic transportation incident, some things being hidden. Now when you do that, a NIFR screen comes up. If you go on a crash as a medic, and you should do a NIFRs as well. Crashes, for us. If it's our crash, if you're doing mutual aid, it's just an EMS report. But if it's Northern Union County's crash, do the NIFRs, and then we can go ahead and go in and add more to it. So that's just an example of something that's being hidden, and it'll come up with based on your responses. Patient assessment. A lot of this stuff you can fill in here. Protocols, ALS assessment is something that we used to do in Old Firehouse. It's now coming back in this. Again, this stuff will change. Activities. This is where a lot of your stuff will be imported. So since we're in this section, I'll go ahead and cover the EKG. So if you go ahead and click the EKG import button, as you to send your information to ImageTrend, it's just like transmitting a 12 lead. So on the monitors, if you go transmit and then select your site, there will be one that says ImageTrend, and it's just like sending that to them. So let me go back here so that way you can see the list. So now that you see the list, it's going to tell you your date and time that you sent it, and it's going to tell you the truck it came from. So you want to select the truck it came from, and then it'll import all that information in. And your vital stuff will all go along with the power tools and stuff that we talked about earlier. When you do some of the different things, you may have to come back in, and even though you did it over here in the power tool, there may be one button that is not in the power tool that's a required information. I believe I changed it already for the EKG. Let me see if you interpret. before it require the method of ECG interpretation. If this isn't here, then you have to go back in your activities screen and change it. If it's red, you need to make sure it's still there. And see, I accidentally clicked out of it. So to get back, just an example. So if we need to get back into a run, you'll see it here listed. Just click the little arrow, and that'll take you right back into it. So patient assessment, just start filling out everything that's in red. And like I said, as you answer questions, things may pop up more. So just kind of fill it out as best as possible. The narrative section, there is no auto narrative anymore. Dr. Krebs started noticing a lot of problems with the auto narrative, and he requested us not to have auto narrative anymore. So we had it turned off in the software. So please try to enter as best a narrative as you can. While I'm in here, not that you can do it on the narrative, you should never do it on the narrative. This little minus with the circle, those are like pertinent negatives, or not recorded, not reporting type information. So certain ones will have that. Let's just go here to patient history, patient meds. So say they don't have any meds, none reported. It's going to show up there. There is no real other option, but this list is hugely long. And you can click over here and see it, and you can search different things. Patient history, same thing. We'll pull over if you've got a past history. Signatures. What's one of the things from this software is everybody that was on the run needs to sign the report, especially if you gave a med. That includes oxygen. So what is required is, if you're listed as a crew on this report, each person on that crew has to sign. Now, if somebody has to leave, you can get them, go right to the signature and have them sign. So when you click add signature, it's going to come up with patient signature, primary care provider, which is going to be the person writing the report, and other crew signatures. Other crew signatures is going to be the other crew member or crew members. So please make sure you're getting those, and it'll require it. Billing information, it'll pull at it. If it's already been there, it'll pull it once. Just verify it, make sure. Primary method of payment, you just want to make sure you select that, and then add the billing information in, and then select whether it's an ALS1, ALS2 information. When you import a 12 lead, it's going to show up here. I'm going to go ahead and import an old one, just so that way you guys can see it. It's going to look a little different, and it'll pop up a bunch of errors, so the times won't match. So I'm going to go ahead and it's going to see get in case on top, but I want you guys to see where you can see your EKGs at. As you see now on the timeline, it's saying, hey, these times don't match. That's why it's popping up the red. So I can click that, and it'll take me right into that one, to where I got to go and fix it. And same thing with the red here. You need to go and fix whatever wasn't filled out. So when you import stuff in, you have to go in and change whatever wasn't filled out by the monitor. And there's going to be some stuff in there. But to go down here, I want to show you guys the 12 leads, so you can go ahead and see it. So if you're down in medical devices and click into it, down here at the bottom, you're just see ECG waveforms. If you click on it, it's going to show you the waveform. And you can download it, or else on the iPad it'll show it up to you, but you can kind of see it, and it also will show up on the printed report. So with this system, we don't have to fax to the hospital. The hospital has access to download the report. We will be giving them a username and password that they can go in and download just their reports for that specific hospital. Dr. Krebs will also have access to this information, so he can go in and send messages back to you, attaboys, or some concerns he might have, or something like that. So he's going to be able to have the power to go in and randomly look at runs as needed, alongside of our QA that we're going to be doing in house. What you should do before you post the run each time is not also make sure the validation's right. Is also do the print. Kind of go through and look at the print. You want to make sure you select the Northern Union County Fire and EMS one. The other one I'm going to hide. And this is what the report it's going to fill out information as you put it. It's not going to leave a bunch of blanks like in Firehouse Medic that had, where information was not put. It's only going to put in what you provided. And it's going to provide your times and all that stuff. And then here's going to be the ECGs. It's going to put all that stuff in there for you. 12 leads. It's going to put all 12 leads. So if you got multiple 12 leads, it's going to put multiple 12 leads in there. It'll also put, it's supposed to put in title, capture in title, and then your regular ECGs as well for the initial rhythm. So again, as Chief Riffle requested, please everybody put in 1 report per shift. We are going to schedule a night training here in the near future. So look for an email coming out for me on that. And then as I go through, I'm going to start doing more of these videos so that way you guys can see, the different steps of how to use this. And we've got quite a bit of topics to cover, with fire, and then there's still the other side of ImageTrend that operates just like Firehouse. So it's going to be a long road, but I appreciate all you guys are doing, and being patient with us through this. So have a good day, guys.